All right. Well, folks, I think I'll go ahead and get started. I think we've got just about everyone in the room here with us. I'll start off with just some introductions. My name is Adrienne Nearday, and I have the pleasure of serving as the Associate Director of the North Carolina African American Heritage Commission. And I'm joined here today by my colleague, Marquisa. I'll give her a moment to introduce herself as well.
Hey everybody, I'm Marquisa and I am the North Carolina Civil Rights Trail Coordinator. So I will kind of be facilitating the application process for the program.
Wonderful, thank you. So today is the first of a three-part webinar series that we are doing. This one is meant to be a general information section, just to talk about our purpose and our goals for the program, as well as to answer any questions that you may have, which if you do have any questions, please feel free to share them in the chat and we will go through them towards the end of this presentation. We do have two other parts of this series. So the second one will be on November 19th at 10 o'clock a.m. and that will be talking about how to apply, what the application process looks like, and what you will need to put together for a successful application. And then our third and final session will be on November 23rd at 10 o'clock a.m. to talk about placement of the markers, who you all should be getting in touch with to make sure that the markers are installed in appropriate and legal places, as well as, you know, right-of-ways and all of that kind of technical stuff. We want to make sure that you have all of the information that you need in order to go through this process. As well, all of these sessions will be recorded, so if you are unable to join us live, we will be sharing them on our website and making sure that they are available as a resource to you as continuing on through this process. So I will start off by just making sure that my slideshow is working the way I hoped. There we go. In case you are not familiar with us, we are the North Carolina African American Heritage Commission, and we are a division within the North Carolina Department of Natural and Cultural Resources. We serve with a mission to preserve, protect, and promote North Carolina's African American history, arts, and culture for all people. And this manifests in a bunch of different ways. We work to support heritage practitioners within the field, as well as various cultural institutions in our state. And then we have a number of different programs and initiatives. Many of you might know us from our work with Oasis Spaces, the North Carolina Green Book Project, and the associated traveling exhibit that is currently making its way across the state, as well as perhaps Africa to Carolina, Freedom Roads, Tale of Two Ships. And if you're interested in learning more about any of those programs, you can certainly take a look at our website. But obviously, we are here today to talk about the North Carolina Civil Rights Trail. There we go. And this is the newest of our initiatives. It actually just launched in August 2020. So we are excited to have so much interest about the program so far as we head into this process. As many of you all know, North Carolina has a really wonderfully rich and diverse civil rights history about all of the various places and spaces and folks who are involved in advancing the civil rights of people of color within our state. And this is a story that, you know, while we know about the big stories, we know about Greensboro, we know about, you know, Martin Luther King coming at various times, and those stories are very significant. What I think is important about this program is that we want to recognize a host of all different types of stories. We are very aware that, you know, most every small town, most every county within our state has an important civil rights story, and we want to take part in sharing it with the public. So in terms of that, this program has the goal of physically marking 50 sites between 2021 and 2023 across the state. 10 of these 50 markers will be in what are known as hometown strong counties, which are, if you're not familiar, that's an initiative of the state to champion rural communities. Again, emphasizing that this is not just about, you know, Raleigh, Greensboro, Charlotte, the big towns. We want to make sure that there's an opportunity for lots of folks to be able to share their stories. And if you're interested in whether or not you are located in one of those hometown strong communities, we do have a listing of them available on our website as well, which we will share towards the end of the presentation. How are we doing this work? Well, we're doing it with a lot of support. We are working with the William G. Pomeroy Foundation. They are working with a mission committed to supporting the celebration and preservation of community history. Nationwide, they are known for their work with the National Women's Suffrage Marker Program, as well as the New York State and Ohio State Marker Programs. So they come at this work with a wealth of experience and knowledge about physically marking and placing these markers out there across the country. And we're very thankful to be working with them on this process. We are also working in partnership with the North Carolina Office of Archives and History, largely in partnership with Ansley Wedner, who is the administrator for the North Carolina Highway Historical Marker Program, which many of you are likely familiar with, the wonderful black and white markers that are throughout our state. Our program is largely similar to that program, though obviously we have a more focused history of what we are looking to mark with our program. We all are also working with Visit North Carolina, and I believe that is how a lot of you folks are joining us here today. I've saw quite a few folks come in after their email was sent to their listserv. So we're thankful with their partnership to be able to spread the word about this program, working to create brochures, travel itineraries, all kinds of things in order to, help distribute this information to, folks that might be visiting our state, folks that might be looking to who are currently living in our state and looking to find, things to do, curious about civil rights history, and to be able to, find resources for it. So at this point, I will pass the presentation off so we can go into more of the nitty-gritty of the program itself.
All right, so I'll be walking us through the marker criteria. So these are sites that will be eligible for a Civil Rights Trail marker. That includes protest, rally, and sit-in sites, as well as birthplace, childhood homes, and primary residence of civil rights icons, churches and spaces where people may have organized, spaces and places where civil rights icons may have stayed, visited, or spoke at some point, or educational institutions, academic centers, or legal courthouses where major civil rights legal decisions were made. So any of these sites will qualify for a marker. I also want to say that we are looking to mark locations that had civil rights significance between the years of 1946 and 1976. And we are also looking for sites that can be supported, or its historical significance can be supported with both primary and secondary sources. So that is for the marker criteria. Adrian, if you want to go to the next slide. Okay. So just a little bit about applicant criteria. Nonprofit groups with a 501c3 designation, academic institutions, and government entities are all welcome to apply to receive a civil rights marker. If you have received a historic highway marker in the past, you will be ineligible for a civil rights marker. And I also want to say, if you are a independent entity and you live in a residence, for instance, of a civil rights icon, and you're interested in applying for a marker, I can work with you to match you up with the local organization so that we can have them fill out the application I guess on your behalf, so essentially. So so that you qualify as an applicant for one of the nonprofit groups or academic institutions. Guess we can go to the next. So a little bit about marker dimensions. They are 18 by 32 inches. They are cast aluminum with a 7-inch aluminum pole to accompany. Each marker's title line will be about 15 characters. The 5 body lines can have up to 27 characters, each including spaces and punctuation. And each marker will feature the on it as well, or logo and color scheme. We have an example here. It'll look a little different than this, but you can kind of put together the colors that we use for the Civil Rights Trail. That red and that black will probably be used in the Civil Rights Trail markers. Okay. So how to apply, let me get my notes for that. So you'll want to start by downloading our application from our website, and that can be found on, I believe it's on this slide here, or no, that's our email. I guess we don't have it posted. We may have it posted on our last slide, but you can access the application and download it from our website, and you can submit it to us via email, which is provided on this slide at the bottom, or from our website. Or you can email it to us or mail it to us at our address, which is also listed in our fact sheets that we sent out in the initial emails. If you do need additional information, feel free to contact us at that email listed below right here. Let me see. Okay, it looks like we just posted the website URL in the chat, so you can reference that for more information. Ooh, what's happened? Am I changing things? Okay. Sorry.
Sorry about that, Marquisa. It's a little touchy on my end.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so for placement, when you're looking at marker placement, you will need to make sure 2 things. A letter from the landowner will have to grant you permission to place the marker in that area so that it can be installed in that area. And that must be included in your application. We must have that letter from the landowner granting you permission to place the marker there. As well, the marker recipients are responsible for arranging marker placement with the landowners or any municipal officials. So if that needs to be done, the marker recipient or potential applicant is responsible for ensuring that that has been done prior to applying for the Civil Rights Trail marker. And let's see, so as Adrian mentioned at the opening, this will be from 2021 to 2023. Here you can see the submission dates and notification dates are outlined. Round 1 will play out between August 2020 and January 2021. Application deadlines are due January 1st of 2021. Applicants will be notified by February of 2021. The round 2 will kick off April of 2021 and run through October with notification in November. And then following that will be the final round from February to August of 2022 with notification in September of 2022. In this first round, our goal is to get 20 markers up, as Adrian mentioned before, with 10 of those in some of our hometown strong counties. So that is an overall goal, and we are looking to achieve that by January 1st of 2021. So that's what we have for that. And now we will open the floor to questions, if you have them.
So feel free to leave those questions in the chat. Again, if you also have questions following this presentation, feel free to email us at this address that we have listed here, nccivilrightstrail@ncdcr.gov, as well as the application information is available on our website with the aahc.nc.gov/program/civil-rights-trail. Which has also been shared in the chat as well.
Yes, and as we mentioned, if you have any questions, feel free to send us an email. If you would like additional materials specific to the application process, that can be provided as well. So.
Wonderful. So we actually just received a question in the chat asking to explain the difference between a primary and a secondary source. So those are both elements that are necessary for your application. And really it's just to serve a purpose of making sure that there is information about this particular site. So in terms of a primary source, that's things like newspaper articles. That's things like meeting minutes or photographs and things that were written or like a picture that was taken at the time of the event. And with a secondary source, a lot of times the way that we say that is what is like an academic resource that talks about this period of time. So that might be an article from a like an academic publication. That might be a book or something particularly that has been written in more modern times about the event.
Yeah, and I just want to add that your secondary sources are what are going to highlight the historical significance of the site or the individual you are looking to feature for your historical marker. So.
Absolutely, kind of feature, you know, why is this important? Why do you believe, why do academics believe that there should be a marker for this particular event or site?
Do you have any other questions?
Don't all ask at once. Well, I'll give it just a few more minutes here to see if we have any additional questions roll through. We did just receive another one from Kima asking, how many times can someone apply? So I believe that we have that stated as, say you are to apply in the first cycle and you unfortunately don't receive approval. You can reply up to one more additional time for that particular marker. Now, if you had a totally different marker or something else like that that you would like to apply for, you're more than welcome to. But in terms of, you know, that specific application for whatever specific, you know, site or individual you're applying for, just one additional time.
Good question.
Again, just to reiterate to folks, this is just the first of our 3-part series. So today was really just meant to be an introduction to help spread word about the program. I have seen a number of folks already signing up for our next session on November 19th at 10 o'clock a.m. Discussing the application process, going more into depth about these primary and secondary resources and other items that you will need to include to make sure that you have a successful application. Then the week of Thanksgiving on November 23rd at 10 o'clock a.m., we will have one regarding the placement of these markers. So making sure that you are getting in touch with the correct folks in your community to make sure that it's in the proper right-of-ways and all of that. And that final webinar, we will be joined with Ansley Wedner, who's the administrator for the North Carolina Highway Historical Marker Program and is also serving on the advisory committee for our program. We did just receive another question here from Leslie. Since there are a limited number of markers to be placed, are there any geographic requirements for placement goals? That is a great question. In terms of that, other than the fact that we are going to award 10 in hometown strong counties specifically, other than that, there are not geographic requirements. We do want to make sure that, you know, we are well representing our state, and I'm sure that that will be something that the advisory committee will be taking into consideration when they're looking at applications, but no, there aren't very specific geographic requirements. Oh, you're welcome, no problem. We'll give it just a couple more minutes here. Again, this will be recorded and you'll receive a copy of the recording through your email, as well as we will make sure that it is posted on our website in case you want to follow back up and take a look at it again. And if you have any specific questions about an application that you might be thinking about, feel free to reach out to us by email. We've already heard from a number of folks throughout the state who have specific questions or are having trouble finding, primary or secondary resources that will fit their application. So, you are more than welcome to approach us with those. We want to do our best to support you in making sure that you have a successful application, and know that this is, it's a process gathering all of this information together, and we are very cognizant of that. And we do really appreciate your interest in the program. It is really an honor for us to be able to be presenting it and to be beginning this application process. Yes, so I did, something that I do want to reiterate, I mentioned a few times about the advisory board. So just to be clear about the application process, it's not us as the Heritage Commission. I'm not part of the decision-making process of who all is getting accepted into this program. We have an advisory board of, I believe it's 10 individuals located throughout the state. A number of them are in academia, as well as a few folks who are working in museums. And they are folks from HBCUs, some of our state universities. We have someone who's going to be from UNC Pembroke and the Museum of the Southeast American Indian, as well as the Living Museum of the New South, who will be reviewing these applications. These are folks who are experts in North Carolina civil rights history in particular. So they're going to be the ones going through their application and making sure that the history is specified in your marker, and that you're, and they'll be the major part of that process. Well, folks, it seems like that might be all that we have for today. I want to thank you again for joining us. I hope that you are staying safe out there with all the weather that we are experiencing today. I know that there's some flooding in certain parts of our state, so hope you are safe and well. And if you are interested in joining us for our upcoming webinars, we hope to see you there. And I hope that you have a good rest of your afternoon and evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adrienne.
Thank you.